Good morning, praise the Lord. Ain't God all right? He's so good. Ain't he good? He all right. Good morning, praise the Lord. If this is morning, good afternoon. If this is afternoon, good evening. If you are finna go to bed, take a rest, lay down, watch a show after you watch this one or listen to this one. Amen. Greetings if you're listening. Greetings if you're watching. God is so good. Welcome to the Book of Racq podcast. I'm Racq. So last week's episode was like our intro, like this me type conversation. And this week is going to explain more of where I currently am in my life, so you can kind of get the gist. So we're going into the stories now. Amen. Amen. It's going to be a little lengthy, but we're going to get here. We're going to see how far we get. And then after that, we'll continue. After this, we'll continue the stories from now on. Okay. So I am Raquel Wyatt. I am 30 years old. I'll be 31 in 2.5 months. Okay? 2.5. 2.5. Like 2 3/4 to be exact, but finna be 31. I have no children, but I'm everybody's TT, and everybody's auntie. Everybody's my child. All children are my children. It's not a secret. It's a thing. I am the oldest of two biologically. The younger believes that he's the oldest, but if you look at the papers, I was here first. And that's just that. I come from a 2-parent household. They are lovely. They've been married. This year will be 33 years. They love each other. They still like each other. God is good. And I currently live in Tallahassee, Florida. What? Yeah. Live in Tallahassee, Florida. That is wild. Okay? With a capital Y. Capital L. Okay. Let's talk about how I got to Tallahassee. Why don't we? So let's back up a little bit further. I graduated from high school in 2011, over a decade ago. Why? Because I'm elderly. And I graduated with honors. Like I was that girl, right? It wasn't really honors, but I had over a 3.0. I think a 3.2, something like that. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Anyway, graduated, and I was accepted to 2 colleges. I was accepted to Georgia State in Atlanta and Kennesaw State, which was in Kennesaw, Georgia, like North Atlanta, Marietta, a little bit above the Marietta area, like Cobb County. And so I like Georgia State, but when I went to Kennesaw's campus, it felt like home. It felt like cozy and wonderful. So I was just like, I'm going to Kennesaw. And so I did. Now, at this stage of life, I am 18 years old. I had experienced a lot by 18, like a whole hell of a lot by 18. And yeah, I had not really found my voice yet. I did not know myself. I literally was just going to college. At that point in my life, let me back up. I always knew college was a part of the plan, because it's very much like, you're going to school. So like, as the oldest child and the firstborn, of course I'm going to college, right? Right. So, yeah. But by the time I got ready to go, I wasn't really ready. And I didn't know how to say I wasn't ready, but I wasn't. like at all ready to go to college. I had experienced a lot, and mentally, emotionally, I was worn out. I didn't realize how worn out I was, but I was out of here. So I went. Let's all laugh together. I went. And so August of 2011, I went to Kennesaw State. And the thing about Kennesaw was they said early on, like, they treat you as an adult. Like, you are not a child. You're grown. You get here, you're grown. You have your little suite. I didn't have like normal dorm style. Like, I had a suite. It was my bedroom, my suite mate's bedroom. We shared a bathroom and our own little suite-ish and little kitchenette. And so, yeah. My parents dropped me off. Family dropped me off as a whole. And there I was for the first time in my life, completely alone, without really any rules and my own schedule. And I had picked my own classes and everything at that point, so I could really do what I wanted. It's a wonder that there are other things that did not occur. Slow blink. So anyway, went, and it was just a whole nother world. It was just a whole nother world. I didn't know that there was that much freedom in the world. I mean, listen, you're talking about someone who has spent majority of her life, all of her life, in the church, and, you know, not necessarily shelter, but we wouldn't go into parties or any of that stuff. Like, my parents let us go to the movies, stuff like that, but hanging out all night and, you know, doing all the things, it was a big hell no. Like, no, that was not happening. Not happening. Not happening. Not happening. So I am now free to come and go as I please. Of course, I don't have no car, but my friends got cars. So we are what? Gone. And Atlanta, downtown Atlanta, is 25, 30 minutes away. Are you kidding me? Gone. Gone. We are not on campus. We are gone. Whether it is a weekday or weekend, okay? So, or we are spending crazy money in the mall, the money that our parents gave us. Whew, anyway, so yeah. So I'm doing everything but focusing on my classes, basically. Say all that to say, yeah. I'm not focused on my grades. I am not focused on attending classes. And I scheduled a bunch of 8 a.m. classes. Now, children of God, if you have not attended an 8 a.m. class in college, it is not the same as an 8 a.m. in high school or in middle school or in elementary. 8 a.m. in college is very different because you have had no sleep. You probably been at a party. Y'all done had a kickback all night. You've been at your friend's room till 3, 4 in the morning. You went back to your room, was up watching TV, looking at YouTube or listening to music and just not doing anything productive. And then you had to physically be present at 8 a.m., like in the class at 8 a.m., meaning you have to be up before that time and then walk yourself to campus. Or walk to your class if you live on campus, which I did, but we lived on the back of campus where the freshmen were, so like having to walk up hills down to my class, it's a 15-minute walk. And when it got cold, I'm not getting out the bed. Are you crazy? No. And there were not online classes at that time, like very much present in your seat. Well, they had online classes, but they definitely were not advanced as they are today, so no. Anyway, so I spent the first semester doing nothing. And so by December, sugar honey iced tea. I remember going home because we were out for winter break at that point. I went home. It was, I don't even know what day it was, but it was an evening and they were posting our grades. Baby, I logged on to that website. Was it AliExpress? Kennesaw State was Al's. I think it was AliExpress. Sounds about right. I logged on to that site, baby, to look at my grades. And all I remember is not seeing now A, now B, maybe a C, maybe a C, and the rest of them jokers. Mighty God, okay? What I did not realize is in college and at a university specifically, the professor's gonna get their check regardless. So they don't too much care what you got going on. Like, you either come or you don't. Either way, I'm getting paid and I'm not gonna chase you because you are grown. Didn't realize that was a concept. And I did not really know how to study. I did not really know how to focus in. Like, so I'm looking crazy, okay? I'm looking crazy. Now, mind you, when I'm looking at these grades, the only people at the house with me is me and my father. The same father who is a stickler on education and who does not play about that and whose money I am using to go to this school. Now, I had scholarships and awards, stuff like that, but housing and all that, he paying for all that. So essentially, I have wasted his money. Now, I gotta tell this man that I barely passed any of my classes. And by barely, I mean 1 or 2 out of the 5 that I was taking that fall semester. Now, taking 5 classes your first semester in college is a little wild. I didn't realize that, but oh well. So I had to tell him, and I thought I saw my life flash before my, I saw my life flash before my eyes. I can see it now, him walking through that doorway, looking at me like I had just cussed. Because I had to tell him, like, they're saying, and I knew something was wrong because it couldn't have been me. You talking about an honors, you talking about a girl that stays on A-B honor roll. I never was straight A's, but A-B honor roll, like, I was that girl. You can hang that up. I had them grades all through high school. So to tell him it was something else, baby, that conversation did not go well. And then my mom and my sister came home. My sister, when I say sister, it is my first cousin. She is older than me. We are like 9.5 years apart. But if I say sister, that's what I'm talking about. And she was living there at the time, so her and my mom come home and I have to tell them, and they're just like hugging me and like rubbing my back because my mom didn't finish. She went to college, but she didn't finish. And then my sister has her own college story. So like they could understand, like they didn't, approve of it, but they were just like rubbing my back like, hey, it happens, kind of. So kind of like sympathize, like you're not the only person that's failed in these kind of situations. My dad was like honors, like he was summa cum laude, like, or cum laude, can't remember which one, but he was up there, okay? He was up there. And then worked 2 jobs, like, so there are no excuses as to why you do not have grades. Especially, I didn't have no job, like, there were no excuses as to why I couldn't pass my classes. So, thank God for grace, my mother. So, all in all, I ended up on academic probation. I'm gonna speed this story up because we gotta get to the end part. All in all, I'm on academic probation, and the next semester I do okay, but not much better because I was severely depressed and didn't even realize it until after the fact. And I was just like, oh, you're crazy. Like, you need to talk to somebody. Mighty God. I was grieving, all kind of stuff. Anyway, And yeah, so my second semester I didn't do much better, and basically they was just like, you know what, we gonna let you go. So they let me go, dismissed, if you will, because I did not meet the standards for my academic probation. Like, and at that point I was just like, whew. Yeah, I had never failed at something before, and that was the first time in my life that I had. And so, respectfully, I was never going back to anything that I failed. That's crazy. Why would I go back and face something that I have severely failed just to do it again? That's stupid. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that ever again. So I ended up reapplying. They let me back in conditionally. But at that point, we ain't had no money because I lost all my scholarships and all my funding. And my dad was just like, the only way you go to college is because it's funding. We can't pay this out of pocket. So, oh well. So ultimately I went back up to, I remember them taking me back to school that August, but my dad didn't take everything out, and I think my mom was like, why won't you like take everything? And he was just like, just in case we gotta go back. I remember him saying that. He didn't, like, not in those words exactly, but essentially it was just like, she may have to come back in 2 months. So I'm gonna leave it just like this, just in case we gotta go pick her back right up. And sure enough, 2 months later, they had to come get me and all my stuff because I couldn't pay for classes. They dropped me from my classes because we couldn't pay. And had to come get me in that October, weeks before, or a week or so before my 20th birthday, because I turned 19 my freshman year. So a week or so before my 20th birthday, they got to come get me, and I'm home with all my stuff just piled up in the room in the corner. Now I am even more depressed. I have failed. I am like, you're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to succeed at anything. Like rehearsing this in my mind. Like, you are a disappointment. You have failed everyone. No one is going to rehearsing these things in my brain to the point, not to the point that I believed it. I already believed it, but like, I knew these things to be true. Like, I was just like, I'll never come back from this, ever come back from this. Yeah. So that happened. That was the fall of 2012. And so I ended up going straight to work. My first job was a server. I had done serving that summer at my best friend's mom's restaurant. And so I had serving experience. I loved being a server, actually. It was a lot of fun. So when I got back home, the only thing I knew how to do at that point was be a server. So I went to serving. And for the next decade, on and off, I'm working. I was a server about 5 more months. And then in May of 2013, I started my first office job at a call center. And apparently I was good at office work. So yeah, the next 8.5, 9 years, on and off, I'm working. Now, I got fired for a couple of them jobs, but that's not what we're here to talk about right now. The Lord knew. So got fired for a couple of them jobs. But fast forward, I always knew like I was never going back to school. Like, it was something I was never going to do. Because, again, facing my fear ultimately was not an option. I was not going to set myself back up to fail again. I wasn't going to do it. I was not going to do that. It was going to kill me too much. Physically, mentally, and emotionally, it was going to kill me too much. Not only just letting people around me down, but letting myself down again, or like I wasn't, that wasn't an option for me. So, oh, my stomach growling, child. I'm finna make you some breakfast. Hold on. But yeah, that wasn't an option for me. So, what was I saying, Holy Ghost? Yeah, never go back to school. Thank you. But by 2020, I started having dreams. This is where the ghetto part comes in. It was ghetto before, but this is going to get real ghetto. 2020, I started having dreams about me being end of 2020, rather. And they weren't frequent, just here and there. And now at this stage of my life, I am single, fresh out of a relationship. And I was actually preparing to move back into my parents' house because my sister and I were living together. Our lease ended in December of 2020, and I knew I wanted to buy a house. So I was talking to my realtor / guy mommy at the time, and she was like, I think it's wise to go, live with your parents for a while, save up some money, and then you can be in a proper position credit-wise and everything else, and then buy a house. Didn't want to do it, hated the idea, and I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. And my dad was like, we got plenty of space, you can come live, you're working, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, whatever. Ghetto, but whatever, I'll come home. And so around the same time, I started having these dreams about me actively walking on a campus, actively like in classes. And I was just like waking up like, I know you ain't trying to say what I think you're trying to say, because hell no. That's, nope. I said no, and I'm saying it again. It will not happen, and I'm not having it. Well, through 2021, the dreams continued. And they became a little bit more frequent at this point. And by, I want to say, I think it was May of 2021. I have to look to get that date right, but I think it was May 2021. And I was in my office. I was working at another office at this point. I told you I was good at office work, and still good at office work. But I had the sudden urge in the middle of the day to look up my transcript from Kennesaw. And I do mean out the purple. And I was just like, why do I want to see this? Anyway, I go to the website, figure out how to order a transcript. And in a matter of minutes, I had it. And I remember looking at it, and I lost it, burst into tears. Because I looked at it and realized that I had passed. I still didn't do as good as I thought. Still wasn't good, but I passed more classes than I thought. And I had actually, all I had remembered for a decade, all I had rehearsed in my mind is failure, 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 failure. And all of a sudden, it's literally a decade later. And I'm looking at this record and it says, now you didn't do what you were supposed to do, but you didn't do as bad as you thought you did. And all of a sudden, everything that I knew was a lie. Everything that I had rehearsed was a lie. There actually was a whole other part of the story that I had just blanked out. I had associated school and failure, so nothing else was going to change my mind until I looked at this record, and all of a sudden everything was different. And I lost it, and I had to leave my office and just take an early lunch break. Thank God we didn't have like set time, so I could just leave. And I remember driving to the Burger King parking lot and almost hyperventilating, because what do you mean everything? What do you mean? What do you mean? Because my brain can't comprehend what I've just looked at. I called my mom and I could barely get words out because I just literally hyperventilating, like not okay, because this is a whole new reality at this point. And I remember her telling me, the Lord just needs you to understand that when you're ready, the door is still open for you. And I'm paraphrasing, but essentially that's what she said. Like, whenever you're ready, like, you can still go back. And I paused it again, because I was just like, okay. And when she said it, I said, okay, maybe I can try it again. Maybe I'm supposed to try it again. And that just, it changed everything. Like I said, this is May 2021. But, or around that time. But it changed everything I knew for the last decade of my life. So it took me the rest of that day and the next to process that information out, because again, this is now a whole new reality for me. But after I processed that out, I didn't do anything with it. I didn't do anything with that information. I just said, okay. And I went on. Fast forward to the end of July of that same year, I just got unsettled. I just wasn't okay. And I was just like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something more. All of a sudden, right? God is a comedian. All of a sudden, I was no longer comfortable. I was easily frustrated at work. Hated waking up in the morning going to work. I hated doing anything I should be doing something else. I should be somewhere else. All the while, he finna knock at my door. So by end of July, I was just over it. And by August, I really was over it. And I remember, I think it was the third week of August, 2021. And I felt like I needed to just talk to God. Because I was just like, and not that I don't talk or don't pray, but it was just like hey man, look, I got something to say type conversation. One of them, hey, when your hand, uh, uh. And my office wasn't far from our church. Thank God I had a key. And I texted my mom, I was like, hey, is anybody at the church? And and she said no. And I said, okay. So I took a lunch break and I grabbed my phone, my iPad, which I normally wouldn't take with me, but my iPad and like all my stuff, and went to the church. And I just had an hour, but I was going to use this hour. On my loud fridge again. Give me just a second. So I get to the church. Nobody was there. And I just turned on the spotlights on the stage. So just left it dark. And I put my phone, my iPad on the altar. This is crazy, but just go with me for a second. I laid the things on the altar and I just sat there and I burst into tears. And I just started talking to God and I was just like, I'm not happy. Like, I am not fulfilled. I'm not satisfied. And I think it's because, I'm pretty sure it's because I have spent, up to this point, I've spent my life just doing for other people, doing what I felt was right, doing what other people thought I should do. Like, and never actually just giving my life to you to like direct me where I'm supposed to go. At no point had I done that. Because at that point, I had just lived my life in the after effects of failure, in the post-trauma effects, if that makes sense. Just doing what I could do, because in my mind for so long, anything else wasn't no longer an option because I did not have XYZ, or I did not complete XYZ. So I was just doing what I was able to grab, if that makes sense. So in that prayer, I mean, just crying and snot everywhere. It was a mess. And in that prayer, I said, Lord, look, I'm going to just give it to you. And where you want me to go, we're going to go. Where you want me to stay, I'll stay. What you have me to do, we're going to run it. Because at that point, I was so tired of being in control. Like, I was so tired of trying to figure stuff out by myself. Like, this clearly is not working. I clearly don't like this. Like, I clearly don't like having to figure out these details. So I'm going to just let you have it. Because number one, you already know the path that you want me to take. But number two, I'm tired. Like, this is ghetto. And for all of my 20s at this point, I have been in charge, and I hate it. No. I know there are moments and there's areas that you'll have me to lead in, but I don't like this at all. So, shortly after that was done with that prayer, wiped all the liquids everywhere, he told me to go on a fast. And I did. I started that next day for it was just 7 days. It wasn't even nothing lengthy. But in the first day, he made it very clear that I was gonna have to quit my job. Now, let's back up for a moment, children. I done told my parents I'm moving home to save money to buy a house. It is now September, 9 months into the year, definitely 6 months after I said I'd probably be gone. And now I'm gonna have to quit my job. So I gotta tell them that. Now my mother, grace and mercy, My father, however, didn't go so well. Because my father is very much, what is the plan? What is your plan? What are the details? Because now you're going to be living here rent free and you also don't have a job. So what's T, you know? And I was just like, y'all gonna have to trust the Jesus you told me to believe in, because at this point, I don't know why he's telling me to quit my job, but apparently I gotta go. So I put in my notice. And my last day of working was September 30th of that year. Now I'm thinking it's gonna be my last day working because I'm finna do my graphic design and all my other businesses full out and just finna make millions and billions and trillions of dollars, and God is finna be good. Not that that's not still coming, children. Amen. All right. But definitely did not expect for me to be in the current seat that I am. So basically, the dream started again about the colleges and the classes and the things, right? And so by January, let me back up. So I put, when I quit my job, I put markers in my phone to mark every 6 months, I think up to 18 months. Of after I quit my job, to see where I was in life, to see had anything changed, had anything evolved. And I just needed to see those markers so I could say, okay, you are in XYZ place. You didn't think you'd be here, you know, just kind of help me. And at the top of the year of 2022, again, the dreams have now sped up big time. And boy, by the time we got to the 6-month mark, after I had quit a beloved job, it was March 30th. And I was like, okay, Lord, I'm expecting something. It's the first 6 months. I need instruction. I need direction. I need something. You're going to have to give me something. Baby, listen. We were, March 30th, we were either going or about to go on the trip, or we're already on our family vacation. We have like an annual family vacation we do. Y'all, why are we on this family vacation and all of a sudden we start talking about college? Now, nobody around me knows that me and the Lord have been having a conversation on and off for the last year and a half. Like, nobody knows this but me. And I'm still like, yeah, I don't think I'm going back. And my dad was like, yeah, if you're going to commit to it, you got to commit to it. And you got to, he just, he's so by the book, Lord have mercy. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm not doing it. At least what I thought. And babe, by the time I got home, I was full out researching colleges. Now, I had a dream school that I wanted to go to, which was also in Tallahassee. So that's where I applied to first. I finally did apply. April 13th, 2022. I applied to this school. Get all my transcripts together from Kennesaw. I had to get my high school transcript because I didn't graduate Kennesaw. So get all my stuff, get all my SAT score, do all my research, pay all this money to get all these transcripts, first of all. And yeah, submit the documents. And I was just like, okay, Lord, you tell me, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump out here and we're just gonna see what happens. So in my mind, by April, I'm like, I'm moving to Florida in the fall. This is stupid, but here we are. I don't have no money. I don't have no job. I don't know how to get there, but you know, hey, we out here. But by June, I still had not heard a decision from my dream school. And at that point, I'm like, now, because I'm checking the website religiously, so I see all the deadlines, I see the release dates. So I'm like, by this point, I should know that I'm either in or not in, and nobody's saying anything to me. So by June, I'm a little upset because I'm like, I done told these people I'm moving to Tallahassee, and they're not saying nothing to me, and I'm a little frustrated. And by the end of the month, I still had not heard anything. So I made a decision. It was a Sunday. Let me back up. It was the second Sunday in June, and I still had not heard a decision. And at this point, I'm just out here on faith, like, this is crazy. And I texted one of my really good girlfriends I knew that lives here and was just like, hey, is there a weekend that y'all are free, or a week that y'all are free that I can come down? I want to go explore camp. Because she knew at this point that I had applied. That I wanted to explore campus and do all these things. And she was like, yeah, we can do this weekend, which was the last weekend of the month. And it was like a week and a half difference or so, but I was just like, all right, bet, I'm going down there because I need answers, and I also need to look for somewhere to live because it's June. Child, I get my happy tail up that Wednesday morning to drive down to Tallahassee. Last Wednesday of the month, drive down to Tallahassee. I'm black. I done made a group text of like my prayer warriors. We're believing God and having faith and doing the things, and God is gonna be good. Yeah. Right? And so they're sending the encouragement, and we believing in faith, and you know, it was good. I got my G's music going down the road. It's 3 hours from Columbus, 3 hours flat. I drive straight to the campus. I do not pass go, do not collect $200. I did not even eat. Straight to campus. And I woke up at like 6 that morning to be there by like 10. And I got there at like 10 on the money, right? Find out where admissions and records is. I go straight into the office. And I sit down and said, hey, I'm looking for answers. I applied back in April and I still don't have a decision on da. And the girl that was working the desk was like, what's your name? And I gave her information. And she was okay, 1 second. She go back to her desk, looks up the information. I'm still sitting in the lobby. Then all of a sudden, she comes walking back to me and leans down, whispering, so unfortunately, it looks like you weren't accepted into the school due to your GPA. Like whispering. And I'm finna smack the stew out this child. Because I'm just like, don't come over here whispering to me. Y'all could have sent this in a letter, an email. Y'all got all my contact information. And I've been in contact with y'all since April 13th. And ain't nobody told me hot dog diggity. Now, I done put my gas in my car, got on this road, drove 3 hours just for you to give me this one sentence. And now I want answers because I'm ticked off. And I'm also not taking no for an answer because there's no way in the world that I've now been dreaming about this school, dreaming about being on campus, dreaming about doing all the things just for this to be a no. Because no is not going to be, that's not going to work. That's not going to work for me. Not at this big age. Not that I've now jumped out here on faith. No, somebody going to give me something. And I do mean now. So I said, okay, is there anybody else I can talk to? And she's like, oh yeah, we got advisors we can speak with. Okay, get me to the advising. Hurry up. She get me to an advisor. And I'm sitting in this woman's office and she was just like, well, we have these other options, And I'm looking at her, I said, okay, y'all hiring? What I gotta do? Because I'm not taking no. I done stepped out here. I said I'd never do it again, and I done stepped out here, and now you telling me I can't come because of my GPA in the past. I said, okay, well, can we mark it from scratch and act like that never existed and I start from the bottom? And she was like, no, because it's permanent record once you go to college. So I'm sitting here looking at her and she looking at me. Now, she don't know the whole story, but I'm just like, lady, there is no way you think I'm finna just go home and act like this didn't happen. That's not gonna happen. So she gave me all these pamphlets of different colleges I can try, blah, 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 blah. And there's this community college that she was like, you can try here. We have a program where you go here for a couple of years and then get your GPA up and you're like automatically admitted into here. And I just looked at her because I was like, I'm not going to community college. If I go to a college, it's going to be a university. So I think community college, I in my mind, it was not. In my mind, honestly, it was my pride. But in my mind, community college was beneath me. I'm not ashamed to say it. In my mind, that's how I felt. If I'm going to go to college, I'm going to university, state of the art, top tier. I'm going to no rinky dink. Whew. So I get my little mad self up with all my documents, paperwork, and pamphlets, walk to my car. I ain't shed a tear yet because I'm ticked, hot. End up meeting my girl that knew about I was coming for lunch. We talk about it and she was like, well, I wonder what we could do. At this point, I don't even want to talk. I'm so hot. I'm like, there is smoke coming out of my ears. I don't even want to talk. And that night we go to Bible study. And I remember talking to another friend of ours and they were like, okay, so what happened? And I said, well, they said I need to try this community college. And they were like, okay, well, that's what I did. And then I transferred over. So do you really believe like the Lord is calling you to move here or make this decision? And I was like, yeah. And it was like, well, then take this route. And I'm like, that is so stupid. But I was like, all right. That night, we're all at the house talking. And they're like, yeah, we're going to just take this. We're just going to go to community college. And then tomorrow we can go look at it and see if they're still accepting students and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, all right. At this point, I'm just going along with it because I'm so out of it. I don't even want to communicate. I'm sick of it. We get up that Thursday morning. Go to the community college. And when I pulled up on campus, I was like, oh, this is pretty big. Like, this is actually a nice size school. Okay. We get to admissions and records. And I went up to the counter. I was like, hey, I just wanted to check to see if y'all still accepting students for the fall. Oh, yeah, of course. You're welcome to go ahead and apply. We just need this information. And you need your transcripts again. I'm like, I got to order transcripts and all this again. I just did this for this other school. Christ. I was like, yeah, you're welcome to apply. You have plenty of time. We don't start till da-da-da. I'm like, all right. And they're so excited. And I was like, y'all so chipper. And I just want to punch all y'all in the face because I don't even want to be here. I get the information. My girl went with me. She had to leave. And so I get back in my car. And I was parked outside the main office building. I closed my door. And I screamed and hollered and cried. I have never, that cry, I can hear it to this day, and it almost scared me how hard I was crying. Because now I don't want to this whole story, so y'all know what's up now. But I have literally, for a decade, said I would never go back and face this. I've now dreamed of doing it again. I've dreamed of this one particular school. I've made the walk. I moved in faith, number one. Trusted God, did an application, paid the application fee. God paid all this money to get paperwork and documents sent in. Tried everything I could. just for them to tell me no. And now I'm sitting in the parking lot of another school that I didn't even know existed until my main door got closed. And I don't even want to be here. And does it still get me back to the school of my dreams? Yeah, but this is not the route I wanted. And this is stupid in my mind. I don't want no parts of this. I don't even like this. Nothing about this puts me at ease and makes me feel good. So I told God and I cried a while. I told God in that moment, you're going to have to make this make sense today. And I mean today. I done drove down here. I'm out literally in the wilderness by myself. My family is out of town already. Like, nobody is here. I'm here by myself, out here on faith, checking on something just to get told no after you said, you're going to have to make sense today of why I'm out here looking crazy. So I get back to the house, to my friend's house. Because I plan to be there till Friday to look at apartments and all this other stuff. And I had to take a nap before I did anything. And that night, I got up, or the afternoon, I got up. I was like, let me go and apply to this school, because if I'm supposed to be here, all right. Within an hour, I had a conditional acceptance letter. Now, I didn't realize that they accept everybody and all people, no matter what you got going on, because it really is like a fresh start. So I had an acceptance within an hour. So at this point, I'm just looking at the screen with a blank stare, like, you got to be kidding me. And I was just like, all right, whatever. I told them, they all excited, and I'm like, okay, I guess. It's still stupid. And I think it was I ended up looking at, the next morning I went ahead and went home. And for the next week and a half, it might have been 2 weeks, I didn't even move. I didn't move, but I didn't do any paperwork. I didn't do nothing for that school. Because I was just like, I still don't want to go here. I already got the conditional acceptance, but I'm not going to this. I don't want to do nothing. It was a week after that. But by the second week of July, I started putting stuff in motion. And I was just like, I guess I'm going to this school. I started meeting with advisors, playing my classes. And by the time I'm playing my classes, I was like, oh no, I'm really going to this school. And by the time I got everything together, like, we were good to go. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know where I'm living. A friend at the time, who was also living in Tallahassee, separate from the other friend group, was like, hey, I got another bedroom. You can just come stay until you get your stuff together. He opened that door. In the moment, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just do this. Like clockwork. Stuff start happening and doors start opening. I did my paperwork for financial aid, everything. And by the end of July, I was getting ready to go. Everything had been done. I had secured where I was living. My classes were secured. My financial aid was done. There was nothing else for me to do but pack. And August 17th, 22, I got in my car. My mama got in my passenger seat. My brother and some family friends got in their truck, in my brother's truck, and we drove to Tallahassee to take my stuff to the house I was gonna be staying at, or the apartment I was gonna be staying at. And that was a Wednesday, the 17th. That next Monday was my first day of school. And by that point, I was so excited, I couldn't even take it. I was like, bro, I'm back in school. Like, I actually did it. And on my own accord, like, nobody helped me get all this stuff done. Like, it was just me and God. We just worked it out. And he opened all these doors. And now I'm here. And as of this moment, I am about to finish my 3rd consecutive semester at my school. And I have a 3.57 GPA. Watch out now. Talk to me nicely. My first semester in college, my fall semester last year, I had all A's. My second semester was a little rough because of life stuff, not because of the classes, but we'll talk about that another day. And I had 2 A's, a B, and a C. This semester, my last week is next week. And pretty sure we're gonna finish with 2 A's and a B. If I get another A, God gonna be good. But you could not have told me. You couldn't have told 19-year-old or 20-year-old, 21-year-old or 25-year-old or 27-year-old Racq that you're gonna come back to the same story and it's gonna end differently. Now, the story is not done yet, of course. Still some things we gotta get worked out. And we're still on the road to getting this done. But I'm on the road and on the journey. And school excites me now. It excites me now. And I am grateful that God chose me to be the one to make this journey. Yeah, my GPA is sparkling, okay? Sparkling. It's beautiful. I done got this merit honors credential. I mean, they offered me to be in the honors program. It costs money, and I was like, no. But they sent me all these awards already, and you couldn't have told me. You couldn't have told me. So, it all makes sense. It always does, right? Now, we're going to go a little bit more in detail about my transition from home to Tallahassee another day. But that's my college story in the meantime, so you know how we at least got here. And we'll dive into some other stuff later. But I love you, and I thank you for being here. And we'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. I'm going to go eat now because I'm starving. I love you.